Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Brothers channel, and this is my first impressions look on the Wade Ice Blood V2. So of course this is D'Angelo Russell's signature shoe, I guess, with Way of Wade. He signed to Way of Wade, but I've seen him playing in the Way of Wade 10 or the Wild 10, which is kind of weird. But I did see him play in the first one, the D'Lo Ice, I believe last season. But also he did play in the WoW 9 a lot as well, and also the All City 10 and also the All City 9. But anyways, this shoe is really cheap. It's going for $100, and also the D'Lo Ice was an amazing performer. Really good budget shoe, right? And it's pretty much using the same exact midsole and outsole as the first one. So probably the V2 is going to be a very good shoe as well. Of course, the upper is a little bit different, which we'll get into. So if you guys do want to cop either of these shoes, I'll try to leave a link in the description box. But let's get it started off with the Tracciones. And we have like a, kind of looks like a smoke, like a cartoon smoke, kind of. You know what I mean? It says ice in my veins as well here in the forefoot, which is, of course, D'Angelo Russell's saying. And also the inspiration behind the name of this shoe as well. It's called Ice Blood. So there's a fun fact for you guys. It says Wade here. We have a plastic midfoot shank plate, and also we have D'Angelo Russell's logo, just a D. So yeah, I mean, in this colorway we have a solid white rubber outsole, and also in the first one I have this like green colored outsole, right? So yeah, just trying it on my wood floors. You know, has a really good bite, just like the first one, you know, and the first one had really good traction, super solid bite, very minimal dust pickup as well. So hopefully, crossing my fingers, they didn't change up the rubber compound and it has the same exact performance as the first one, right? But yeah, I mean, trying it on my wood floors, the V2 also has a nice bite, has a little bit of squeak as well. Also, if you're playing on an outdoor court, you should be fine. I mean, this rubber, the grooves are super thick, the rubber is super hard, and also the grooves are very deep. So you should be a-okay. It's probably one of the better options for an outdoor court. So I'm super excited about the V2. It's feeling really good as far as my first impressions go for traction. All right, moving on to the heel to toe transition. I mean, it was very nice in the V1, right? And I feel like it'll be very nice here in the V2, right? So rounded shape here in the heel, although it's a little cage. I mean, the rubber outsole does come to cage the midsole a little bit, but we have a nice rounded shape, right? So that feels nice. And then here in the forefoot, we have a crazy curve. Look at that. Super crazy curve shape, which I really like. You know, not only for heel to toe transition, but for shooting as well, right? When you're shooting, you kind of want to be more on your toes. And this type of shape, you know, this crazy curve shape, you know, once you put a little bit of weight in like the front of your foot, like in your toes, it tips you forward and just keeps you on your toes when you're shooting, which I really like, just in my personal preference, right? And also, we have a good amount of forefoot flex, but we have a midfoot shank plate for good torsional support. So overall, heel to toe transition feels very nice. All right, moving on to the cushioning setup. That was the downfall, or I guess like the negative of the V1. And it's the same exact thing here in the V2. We have light foam, and you know, leaning or wave away. They have cloud foam, which is nice. They have boom. Light foam is what they use in their cheaper models, and light foam is not very nice. It's super stiff. There's not a whole lot of compression, and it's just, honestly, it's not that nice, you know what I mean? So it also is like pretty damn cage. You know, like if you look at the entire midsole, there's a lot of cage going on. So yeah, there's not a whole lot of compression from the actual midsole, even in the heel as well. Also, the insole is pretty damn stiff. It's like it feels like a plastic almost. It's like a stiffer type of foam. And then for the it's the struggle board, it's also super stiff. So step and comfort also is not very nice. The good thing, however, is that the court feels good and it's really responsive because there's no compression from the actual midsole or the foam. And that's pretty much it. You know, impact protection probably isn't going to be good. It's also not super comfortable for cushion, and also doesn't offer that much bounce. So that definitely sucks. But if you're looking for a responsive ride, then this probably is a good option, right? All right, moving on to the material. So of course, that's what they changed up. And honestly, I feel like I like the version 1 a little bit better, you know? It's like it kind of reminds me of Jacquard. You know what I mean? Remember in like the Crazy Light Boost? I don't remember, like the 2016, I think? It's a little bit stiffer. The quality feels a little bit better maybe. In the V2, it kind of reminds me more of like a ballistic nylon, but with like thinner strands. You know, I'm comparing it to like the Jordan 11s, you know what I mean? Also, we have some fuse in the tip of the toe, more on like the medial side. And also we have like 3 lines of stitching going around the toe box as well. But overall it's thin. It's also super supportive. There's not like any stretch to it. It conforms to your foot very well. So honestly, it feels pretty much the exact same as the D-Low Ice, like the first one. It just as far as like the quality goes, it just feels a little bit better in the first one, right? It's just me nitpicking. However, one thing I don't like about the V2 though is that it's an independent tongue, right? And when I was putting it on, actually this part kind of like folded over on itself, which is kind of annoying, and it never happens to like a half booty construction tongue. So I had to like, you know, fix it, go like this and then fix it, which is, of course, it doesn't affect performance that actually it might, because you know independent tongues also do move around a little bit, right? But I guess the laces do go through this, right, kind of like eyelet here, so that'll probably keep the tongue in place. Just a little quality of life thing that, you know, I like half booty constructions tongues better, like which the version 1 has. You know, this mesh material goes all the way down into the material, right? So that's one thing that they changed up. But one thing I do like about the tongue, however, is that there is a little bit more padding, especially here on top of the shoe. And also it's a very large tongue as well. Look at that. It's a lot larger than the first one. So honestly, I like larger tongues, but I wish it was a half booty construction tongue. And then here in the ankle area, they both have very minimal padding. However, I would say the V2 actually has a little bit less padding. Holy crap, this is so minimal. So overall, I mean, this material feels super minimal and lightweight on foot, which I do like, but also feels supportive and it feels great on foot, you know, and it feels pretty much the exact same as the V1. But also a pretty big difference is that the V2 is a lot lower cut. The first one is more of like a mid cut, right? It's like a low mid. The second one is, holy crap, look at how low this is, guys. So there's a little bit of a difference there. And we also have a very useless pull tab. I don't know what this is for, but I do like the like holographic kind of like finish to it. All right, so moving on to the fit, I went up half a size, and I would suggest going up half a size, right? So yeah, it's a really narrow and snug fit. However, it is a little bit long because I did go up half a size. I feel like if I went true to size, it would be really snug, right? So yeah, even though I went up half a size, it feels really snug width-wise, like super narrow. And also here in the toe box, like I like how it goes in. Look at that, it goes in. So I you know, just in my personal preference, I like to have a really snug fit here in the toe box. So that's a nice thing to see. You know, I'm also playing like the Curry 1 Flotros, and those like kind of scrunch up like this, which makes it super roomy in the toe box, which I don't like. So I do like how they kept it like very snug here in the toe box. So for most people, if you want a snug fit, probably go up half a size. If you have a really skinny foot and you want a really snug fit, then go true to size. But for most people, go up half a size. And if you have a really wide foot, probably go up a full size, because it's a really snug and narrow fit. So there's that. Also, another thing I like about it is that it has a really high heel tab, which makes the shoe super easy to put on as well. Now moving on to the support and lockdown, I feel like it's gonna be very good. You know what I mean? It has the same exact features as the first version, which had really good lateral containment as well. So if you look at the second one, here in the forefoot, we have the foam coming up, we have some fuse as well, and this material is super supportive. So here in the forefoot, it feels good. And then also here in the midfoot, we have this piece coming up. It's like a rubber piece. And then here in the heel, we have the foam coming up, and we have an internal TPU heel counter, feels like. So lateral containment feels like it's gonna be good, and we have a very wide base. Look at that. Look at how much this midsole protrudes out. So we have a very low and wide base as well. So it feels like it's gonna be good for lateral stability, just like here in the first version. So that all feels good so far. And now moving on to the weight of the shoe, I feel like, I don't know, probably like average weight, right? 12 something. 12.17 ounces. Let's check the other pair. 12.31 ounces. So it's a little bit lighter than average. The average weight of my shoes is around 12.5 ounces. Let's check the first pair. 13.02 ounces. So yeah, it definitely did shed off a good amount of weight, and it feels a little bit lighter. It's probably because of the lower cut shoe, right? That's probably it. I don't really see anything else that maybe the plastic, not really. It's probably just a lower cut. So Yeah, it does feel a little bit lighter and also a little bit more minimal because there's less material on the ankle bone, right? So that feels a little bit better in the V2 as well. Moving on to the aesthetics, it looks awesome. I love the way this shoe looks. I feel like it looks a little bit better than the first one, even though the first one looked good either way, right? But you know, the lower cut shoe looks a little bit better. And the overall design also looks a little bit better as well. I like how this is a little bit shorter, right, than this piece, right? So there's the aesthetics there. Tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, yeah, I mean, the first one was a banger. It was an amazing performer for a great price, you know, $100. And I feel like the V2 is a little bit of an improvement. You know, I do like the lower cut. It's a little bit lighter as well. And if the traction is just as good as the V1, then I'm gonna absolutely love the shoe as well. And my first impressions of the V2 are looking really good. So anyways, that about concludes my first impressions look on the Wade Ice Blood V2. Again, if you guys do want to cop, I try to leave a link in the description box, but that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.